Are we ready?
Let's do it. Let's hope I remember it.
All right.
Hit it.
One of my favorite Claudia lines goes in this episode.
I know I heard it and I was like, oh.
Yeah, we've waited 38 episodes to hear this. Yeah. All right, here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and Neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it.
Welcome back to Artie's Attic. We're a Warehouse 13 Fancast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor, preparing to choose wisely in front of the Knight of the Templar. My name is SP.
Nice.
And introducing Artie's Attic lead agent and historian who looks for any opportunity to join a riot and smash some windows in the Vatican. It's Agent Shannon.
Hell yeah, that looks like fun. I do it. You know I do it.
Yes, I do. That's why I put it there.
Pretty much.
And also joining us, you just heard her, is the warehouse agent who will take a blade defending her friend from someone who he once collected. It's Agent Carolyn.
Yeah, I totally do that.
Mm-hmm. You picking up the references this time around, guys?
I think so.
Okay,
No, I
think I got
so
No.
Artie played the collector who collected Data, who was played by Brent Spiner.
On Star Trek, yay! No? I don't know.
Data was a collector? Wait,
No,
where was he collecting?
Artie was the collector who collected Data.
Got it.
All right.
Now
And
I'm better.
then, of course, Micah smashed the window in the Vatican.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, it wasn't
and
the Vatican. It was actually a tavern
The
that
restaurant, yeah.
led to the Vatican, that led
Right.
to the tunnels that went into the Vatican. So it wasn't
And-
actually the Vatican, but she would still smash the Vatican, yes.
And the Knights of the Templar in the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade
I
movie
did guess that one.
with the choosing. Okay, so I'm glad we're all on the same page.
Yes, you chose wisely.
Okay, here we go.
Alright.
We are continuing our Warehouse 13 series discussion with the episode that premiered on Monday, July 23rd, 2012. 2 years before Emily Blunt and her team died at least 24 times on screen before Tom Cruise finally figured out how to succeed in defending it against an alien invasion. I'm referring to the Warehouse 13 Season 4 episode, A New Hope. The TVGuide.com description reads, following the destruction of Warehouse 13, the team races halfway around the globe in search of a dangerous artifact in the Season 4 premiere. Shannon, not your favorite episode, but you liked it.
It's one of the pretty good ones. I would say it's a pretty good one. And then we might stop here for a while until the black and white one comes, and then I might be happy again.
Okay.
Honestly, it's been a long time since I've watched season 4, so I'm kind of excited about it because for all the other episodes and all the other seasons, I could tell you word for word. This one is it's been a while, so now I get to watch them with you again. So
There was a
it's kinda-
lot. There was a lot in this episode.
There was a lot going on in this one, and I
lot
think
going
it
on.
was a great way to close up some loose ends, to open up new hope.
I wonder if they had to get any special permission to use that title, A New Hope, from Star Wars.
They've said that they've had to ask permission for various like Star Trek things in the past, so I
Mhm.
assume they would have to have done the same thing with this, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, episode title New Hope.
It just made me think Star Wars.
I know, and I'm going to be a curmudgeon here.
Which came out first?
The ending of the episode did not give me hope. The ending actually was the opposite of hope.
Well, I think it was supposed to, just due to the fact that of the consequences of the artifact that Artie used.
I don't remember the ending.
The ending was Artie was hearing back Brett Spiner's words saying that.
Okay, that's right. When he did the astrolabe.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, but this was way after. This was at the very end after Mrs. Frederick talks to him. It's the last thing you see. And he calls for Claudia or something like that and finds out, or Lena calls him and Claudia
Lena,
escaped. Yeah, Lena.
Yeah.
And
Claudia left in the middle of the night.
And you know what she was doing because she said, I'm going to remember this no matter what. I'm going after Jinx. So you know what she's doing. But Artie just says your worst fear, it reiterates those words of Brent Spiner as the Knight of the Templar, that the worst fears come to life or something like that for the rest of your life. And I'm just like, that's depressing. I mean, the fact that we get the warehouse back is good. The fact that Jinx is not with us is still sad. The fact that HG is back is good. But the rest of it, I know, but she's alive.
She's not only alive, but Artie advocated for her at the ending there and was like her biggest advocate to get her back to working in the warehouse, where the regents were like, who are you and what did you do with Artie?
Well,
Why
not
are
only
you
is she
advocating
alive,
so much for her?
not only is she alive, but she didn't do that heroic thing as she did before. So now they have no idea of what transpired. Although she's kept saying, how do you know that? How do you? So she's picking up something. How do you know that?
Yeah.
But she didn't do the whole smelling apples thing. I mean, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
That's
so
the best
there's a
part.
bunch of stuff that we learned in this episode or that we failed to experience in this episode, and that's one of them. So I was going to ask you specifically, Shannon, on that point, how you feel about HG's sacrifice gone forever.
I like that Artie remembers it because, like you said, in the past, he's been the biggest dogging on her all the time, didn't trust her, didn't want her. And then all of a sudden now he's Team HG.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with that
everyone.
because during the last season, as she was coming back out of the Magic 8 Ball, she was doing things in a positive manner and that she was starting to earn trust. I don't think Artie was as the opponent of her.
But Artie don't trust anyone, so he wasn't going to let her come back. I wish that Micah could remember some of it because she did it. I mean, yes, in the grand scheme of things, she did it to save all three of them, but she did it for Micah.
True, but Micah and her still experienced the part where they were in, where was it, Hong Kong, where they were doing the chess game. They still experienced that together. So that experience was still there as far as Micah saying, stop being so heroic and just, I believe in you. We can do this together kind of thing. So that
Wells and
part was
Baring
still there.
solving the puzzles, saving the day.
Yes, Baring and Wells solving puzzles and saving the day. Yes, so that part is still in both of their memories. So that part's still there. It's just the ending part was not there because it didn't have to happen.
I love that they were able to rewind it. I love that they both figured it out. And was it the end of this episode? I think so. Or was it the last episode where Pete hugged HG?
That was the last episode. Pete hugged HG at the end.
So
we're assuming that still happens.
I don't think so. Because it blew up after that.
But no, it didn't blow up right after that because they still had to go find the wheelchair. In this one, they found the bomb first and Pete had to go grab Sykes back through the portal so that they could put the shroud over it. Gandhi's Dodie's.
In my mind, I kind of wish Micah would have, like, I would love for them to be a future episode where she's having a dream sequence where she just remembers something. But that's just because there was an amazing fanfic that I read one time that was a continuation from this episode, and it was so detailed. It'd be like, I swear, it was like one of the show writers wrote it. It was that awesome. Mm-hmm. But, fanfic. And now I can't even remember the name of it. It's been so many years. But
I'm sure you have it on your phone somewhere.
Somewhere. I've got like pages among pages of them saved. But I kind of wish Micah would remember the good deeds that she did. But it's good enough that Artie does, and now Mrs. Frederick's like, look at this, right? And then the big old gray strand.
She's like, what did you do, Artie?
You did something. You did something. And he's a horrible liar. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Because the guy that Brent Spiner, the Templar that Brent Spiner was playing, was saying nobody can know about this or they will suffer the same fate as you, which is you will create an evil of your own making and it will haunt you for the rest of your days.
I do like this season, but I don't like the direction that they're going to take this story.
Yeah. Because the fifth season is your favorite.
Let's be specific. You don't like the direction that they're taking the relationship of Micah. That's specifically what you don't like.
I don't like the direction that they're going to do with Lena.
Oh, yeah.
That too.
So I think they are throwing away a character that is unnecessary because not all the time she's necessary, right? Lena's a background character. So if she's not in every episode or if she's not a main, then why do we need to lose her? Why?
Right.
So that was unnecessary.
She's like the Battlestar Galactica Callie. We can lose Callie.
Nice.
She's completely unnecessary, but we might want to keep her around for a little bit, but she's unnecessary. Yeah, I like Lena, and I think she's a good add to the team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like the direction. Like, I think that the Brotherhood plays a pretty good storyline for the next couple episodes. But I just don't think that it was necessary. I mean, why? We've already lost one.
Yeah.
Ish. But she's not an ish. She's a permanent. So I just don't understand why they needed to do that. Unless she was just one of those characters that she wanted to leave and go do something else. But why? You're right here at the end of it. You're not even sure you're going to get renewed, which they didn't, which is probably why she jumped ship. I don't know. But I don't know. I do like Brent Spiner because he's a great bad guy.
He does play a really good bad guy.
He plays evil.
He is an amazing actor.
Brent Spiner plays Brother Adrian. That's his name in this thing. He has 103 acting credits. He started in 1970, which I know was before either of you two yahoos were born. He was in an episode of Hill Street Blues, an episode of The Twilight Zone, an episode of Cheers.
My goodness.
2 episodes of Mama's Family.
I remember all these shows.
7 episodes as the iconic character of Bob Wheeler in Night Court.
No way. He was in Night Court? Oh my goodness.
You didn't know? And he's, I'm going to jump ahead. His last credit that he has is the new Night Court. He came back reprising his role as Bob Wheeler there. Yeah.
Makes me want to watch Night Court again.
Right. 176 episodes of a little off-Broadway play called Star Trek The Next Generation.
How many episodes?
As the android who would be human.
176. So if you think it's on 7 seasons, and I don't know, I want to say 26, but it was probably like 23 episodes a season,
did a
right?
lot? Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably in most of them. Yeah. And then his next credit is the 1994 film Star Trek Generations.
Mm-hmm.
He was in an episode of Mad About You.
Never saw that. With
Helen Hunt and what's his name from Aliens? Can't remember his name off the top of my head.
And what's his name?
Yeah. Helen Hunt's the important one there, right?
Is she on your list?
No, she is not. She's a little bit too stern for me, but okay. Yeah, in Twisters, I love her character in Twisters. 4 episodes as a voice actor as Puck in Gargoyles.
Yep.
Pretty much all of them played in Gargoyles.
I think that it was like the next generation of cartoons. They were all in it, which is probably why I really loved Gargoyles.
The 1996 movie Independence Day.
Yeah, he was a good character in that one. He cracked me up.
I don't remember him in that movie.
He played the scientist in Area 51.
Like a Dr. Noonien Soon kind of scientist?
Well, yeah, kind of. He was the one who was overtaken by the alien. So technically he died in this movie.
Gotta go back and rewatch this movie.
Yeah. He had the 1996 movie also of Star Trek First Contact. So 1996 was a big year for him. 1998, Star Trek Insurrection, one of my personal favorite Star Trek movies. I know a lot of people don't like it. I actually like the fun of it, so I like it.
Is that the one where they stretched the skin?
Yep. And was on the planet and everybody got younger and sillier and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Picard got the girl again, but not the one he's supposed to get.
Was doing the salsa dance.
But not the one he's supposed to be getting all these years. Yeah.
I'll take her. I'm telling you, I ship those two all the time. And this is also where
look at you shipping things and people.
Riker and Deanna Troi get together permanently. Here.
Yeah, they got married here, right?
No, that was the Nemesis. That was the next one. The wedding was at the beginning of the movie. This is the movie where he shaves off his beard and they get in the tub.
I do remember that part.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't remember them not being together where they have to get back together.
Well, they were, remember, she was with Worf.
Yeah, she was with Worf for a little while. Then Worf went to DS9 and married Jadzia.
Okay. All right. But the timeline, now we got to stop and do Star Trek for a second. So they got married. So you're saying they got married, and then in the series, was the series still going?
No.
Okay.
This was after the series was done.
Okay. So then there's no way where they would have got married, and then they stopped being married, and she went with Worf, and then they're married again.
Okay, you're misunderstanding what happened. No, she was with Worf during the series. After the series, when Worf went off to DS9, then they kind of broke up. This is off screen for the most part.
Okay. I'm like the timeline. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
And then Troy got back together again with Riker in Insurrection. There was First Contact in there too, but Insurrection.
I actually really liked First Contact. It was
that's when she got drunk. She did a good drunk.
She did do a good drunk.
And then they get married in 2002 during Star Trek Nemesis. I'm just going to jump ahead to that one.
Okay.
In between Insurrection and Nemesis, Brent Spiner did Dude, Where's My Car?
I didn't watch that, but
it doesn't look like something I would
see him being a funny comedic person in that. He does have a really funny comedic sense of humor, actually.
It's his timing and his monotone.
With him, he's hilarious.
But it's when he speaks monotone and his timing is perfect.
He's a talented guy, that's for sure. He did an episode of Frasier. He did an episode of Friends. I know a lot of people did, but he did. He was in the 2004 film The Aviator. He did an episode of Joey, probably jumping off his Friends experience. 4 episodes. I don't remember this. 4 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise.
I think I kind of remember that because I did watch Enterprise. I kind of remember him being in that. I didn't watch Enterprise that much. I think I watched it once. So.
I remember other characters being in Enterprise. I don't remember him.
I remember characters from Enterprise going to Stargate.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I watched the episode with Trip in it. Trip was a bad alien.
He was
I remember that.
Yeah.
He was also, wasn't Trip also, he was in Stargate Atlantis, wasn't he a Wraith?
He was a Wraith. Yeah,
he was a Wraith. Yeah.
That's what, Michael the Wraith. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
He wasn't the main Wraith, though.
No. But he got to revert back. So we got to see, his real face and stuff like that for a little bit. Okay, moving on for Brent Spiner, 2006 movie Material Girl. 2008 movie Superhero Movie. 1 episode of Alphas. 1 episode of The Big Bang Theory. 6 episodes of Warehouse 13. His final episode with us will be season 4, episode 10. So it's the first half of season 4. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they split the season up. So it was 10 episodes and 10 episodes.
Yeah, because this is when, at the same time, wasn't BSG on? And that's when they started really doing this split season kind of thing.
This was way after BSG.
I know that, but BSG started doing the split
seasons. Yeah.
So by the time that we got to this part of Warehouse 13, they started doing 2 because sci-fi is di-fi, and I digress.
He
But
did
not really.
4 episodes. He voiced Gall Travis in Star Wars Rebels.
Gall Travis in Rebels. Which one was Gall Travis?
I don't know off the top of my head, but
I have to watch because I
the
watched
important
that.
part is he was in Rebels, so that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. He did 1 episode of The
Crossing
Librarians.
the streams, man. He's crossing the streams.
All over the place. 1 episode of The Librarians. He reprised his role in the 2016 movie Independence Day Resurgence, despite dying in the first one.
I was going to say he died.
Yeah. So,
But it's sci-fi, you can come
Yeah.
back.
apparently,
And he was in Area 51, so
they didn't bring back Will Smith. They brought Brent Spiner back. So,
Well, you gotta go with who has a bigger pool.
at the time, I would say Will Smith had the bigger
I was
pull.
going to say Will Smith, but I probably couldn't afford him to do that movie.
No, they pretty much, and he wasn't the only headliner. He was specifically.
Let's bring the other dead alien.
Yeah. Will Smith at the time was specifically trying to be the headliner of movies. He was trying to be the single star. He's gunning for the Oscars and stuff like that. And now his career is suspect.
A little sad.
It's what happens when you throw a big slap on national live TV. Okay.
Yeah.
1 episode of The Blacklist. That's an accomplishment. Blacklist
That's a great series.
Yeah.
On that
But I don't remember him on that. But that's still a great series.
I mean, I love that series, but
it is really good.
Yeah.
17 episodes of a series called Outcast.
Mm.
1 episode of The Goldbergs, which I never watched, but I just think it's hilarious that he was on Goldbergs. Again, his comedic timing.
Yes.
14 episodes of this, I don't know, PBS documentary series called Star Trek Picard.
PBS
Just a small
documentary.
series. Just a small one.
You funny, haha.
Then the last credit that I have on his list is 1 episode of Night Court, reprising his role as Bob Wheeler. I don't know if they're calling it a reboot or a continuation or whatever, but Night Court came back and it was in the same universe and everything like that. So that was the main star the guest star that we saw in here. There was another. Can you guys guess who the other one is that I'm going to detail?
Anthony Michael Hall.
Well, no, I mean, we've gone over him quite a bit, but yeah, he got a lay on the floor moment, basically. Yeah. Said he was sorry. Okay.
We got
After
Kusan, which
Gandhi's
is 2 Star Trek
Cody.
people in the same episode.
3 Star Trek.
Oh,
'Cause
Janeway.
we're counting Artie.
We're counting Artie.
I don't
Yeah.
count Artie.
We do. I don't care
Okay.
what you do. Carolyn and I are counting.
2
it.
against 1. We win.
Fine. Artie. 3 Star Trek people.
No, the other notable guest star in this is a short man that's not really notable, actually. His name's Lester Holt.
Oh, yes. I had him in my notes. Lester Holt. The news broadcaster.
Yes,
He's talking
that
about
Lester Holt.
Yes,
Yeah.
that Lester Holt. Literally Lester Holt. And he plays as Lester Holt. So, yeah.
NBC nightly news anchor. He wasn't at the time, I don't think, but he did rise to the position. He does have 11 acting credits, all as news people. Just want to go over a few of them. The 1993 movie The Fugitive. Newscaster.
Oh, he was in that.
1994
My goodness.
movie Miracle on 34th Street, which I didn't remember.
Nope. Don't
Wait a minute.
remember
So
that either.
this is the guy that when they turn the TV on for the first time.
He's
this
not
is
the
guy
first
that
one,
blew
but
the
he's
news.
the one they cut to. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not the first one. But
Yeah. The 1998 movie U.S. Marshals, so continuation from The Fugitive.
More Tommy Lee Jones.
5
It's true.
episodes of a series that wasn't notable at all. It didn't have anybody in it. It was called 30 Rock.
Oh, you're funny.
Only this single episode of Warehouse 13. So thank you, Lester Holt, for coming in and bringing your gravitas into this series. And then he did play 1 episode. I've never watched it, and I don't think I ever will, but it was notable when it was on at first, House of Cards. He was in an
I
episode of
remember
House of
everybody
Cards.
talking about that. I didn't watch it either. It wasn't It wasn't one of the ones that I was going to watch.
Yeah, so those were the two notable guest stars that we had, and we won't see Lester again, but we will see Brent another 5 times, so that's pretty cool.
This series or episode was interesting the way it started. It had the recap, and then you see the 3 of them standing in the warehouse, and each one has kind of a flashback of, like, I guess their favorite part. You see
The memories.
the memories. You see Pete putting Beatrice Potter's teapot on the shelf and then skipping with Micah. Micah, her favorite
Memories are.
memory was of HG saving her with the grappling hook, rescuing her. And then Pete was just, or not Pete, sorry, my
Artie.
brain, words are hard.
That's my job.
I think it's catching. You just send it to
It's
me every time.
contagious.
I swear.
Brain
And
injury.
you see Artie look at it, and he's introducing the 2 of them to the warehouse, which was one of his memories. And then you see Pete, Artie, you said not yet. If we ever needed a miracle and magic, we need it now. What do we get? What is the magic of the watch? And then Micah's like, oh, I can't remember the person's name. Something about,
MacPherson?
No, it
No,
wasn't
they
MacPherson.
start
It was
rambling
an
off different
actual, like, a type
artifact.
of artifact that she was thinking it was, that matter is never created nor destroyed, and it must be that guy's watch, and you can turn back time and everything will be back the way it was, because
They
matter
were
is
just
neither created
rambling
nor
on about
destroyed.
trying
It's
to
just
different
changed.
artifacts. Yeah.
And he's like, no, I actually have no idea what this watch does. I just knew it was important. And then he says, wait, we have overwhelming sadness. And he runs off. And Pete's like, wait, Artie, where are you going? And he goes to try to find, I don't remember the metal, but it was like supposed to be the strongest metal ever. And
Luteum.
So not adamantium or something like that.
It Luteetium.
Or what's the one from that his shield's made out of?
Vibranium.
So it wasn't vibranium either, apparently.
And it wasn't unobtainium. And actually, he's wrong. It's not the
Unobtainium.
hardest element. It's chromium that's the hardest element. But
That's
I digress.
Okay, rocket scientist.
I just yes, rocket scientist there.
It's okay. I knew that too. But you're like, oh no. And Artie's like, I need to go find a TV. Pete's like, now I know there's something wrong. Artie never wants to watch TV. They run off to Lena's.
I like how they started just right as the warehouse blew up, and they're all still standing in their little spot on the ground, and you can see the only part that didn't blow up. And I like whenever they get over to Lena's, and the girls don't know the warehouse has exploded.
Nope.
They don't know that Mrs. Frederick has passed.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones don't know that HG is passed. So, I mean, the gravity of it is sad. But when Micah says, I know I watched her die.
I know.
But people die every day, even ones we love.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. But the coldness that comes over.
Claudia?
Thank you. See, it's rubbing back on this way to me now.
I got you. You got me. I got you. It's fine.
The coldness that rubs over on her face is just, I'm done with you people. I'm going to be doing this from now on, and this is where you get in my way, and I will,
Yep. And you can see, I think they did a really, really great job in this episode of showing the darkness too. Because, in other episodes, Claudia is colorful. She has color in her hair. She has colorful pins. She has colorful shirt or something, or some kind of very colorful person. And in this one and in subsequent ones from now, she's very dark. She has dark clothing. She has no pins. Her hair is actually a darker red. But they've really darkened her whole persona, and you can tell they did a really good job of this making her a darker person.
She's
and
not
just
having
you could
any
tell
of it.
that
Yep.
just the sad, angry, darkness that she has now in her. So it was really, really well done. And you could tell it was like kind of on everybody else too in this episode until they fixed the warehouse. Well, until Artie fixed the warehouse. There was so much just like darkness. And you could tell because Pandora's box was destroyed, and on the bottom of Pandora's box is hope. So the world has lost hope and it's literally descending into chaos. And they have to try to save everything and find this one thing while looking at this watch. And I think it's funny that, they're reading the back of the watch, trying to figure out the watch. Why is this watch so important? Why is this watch so important? Okay, Barbosa. Well, what is Barbosa? Okay, that's Portuguese. And then there's writing in the back that's Portuguese. And Micah just spouts off what that is. And everybody looks at her. She's like, really? This is still a surprise to you?
Yep.
And then the watch starts counting down for 23 hours. And they're like, what's this 23 hours? What is this?
It's time that they have left to save the warehouse, basically.
And the black diamonds. And then Artie's like, well, Lena, grab the, what is it, tire pump or some pump?
Oh, for the football?
For the football. And they go out the warehouse and you see Artie pointing at the sky with like a car beeper trying to, Pete's out there, aren't we supposed to be trying to fix the warehouse? And Artie's like, I'm trying.
Yeah, he had to call down the
comes
fish.
back down. He's like, Pete, catch it. Pete catches it and he does this like little dance with his I caught the football kind of touchdown.
He does his prayer yep. It was a dark episode.
And then they look at and then he's like, well, I thought the football was I knew the football wasn't an artifact. Its weight was all off. And then Claudia's like, I can't find anything. There's nothing on the internet. And Artie's like, this is better than the internet. And he typed in whatever it was because he's trying to find out whatever it was.
Yeah, Black Diamond. So that was actually my favorite scene of the entire episode. It starts in the bed and breakfast where he's like, I need to go to the warehouse. And Pete's like, you do know it's blown up, right?
You do know it's blown up.
So there's that. And then everything that happened there. Football. The artifact. It's not an artifact, but it does collect information on artifacts all over the world. Basically, it's the best Google search you could ever have for artifacts, basically. I do have a question, though. At the very end of the series, so this is jumping ahead, Pete knows what the football is. In this particular episode, they learn what the football is, but then that is all erased at the end. So how does Pete know about what the football does at the end?
Maybe he found out at some point that we didn't see on screen.
We did see the good game butt slap, though.
That was so funny. And Artie didn't even miss a beat. He tosses it back in the air and Pete smacks him on the butt. Good game. And Artie's like, thanks. Doesn't even miss a beat. That was really funny. That cracked me up. And then they're all trying to, okay, we got to go to, where did they go to Rome first? Was it? No, they went to Paris first. Where'd they go first?
Yeah.
Rome was the second one because they had to go to the Vatican.
They went to Portugal. Didn't they go to Portugal first?
No, they were in France because they were speaking Le France. Oui.
Yeah, they went. Well, yeah, but I don't think I think they went to Rome second because they had to go to the Vatican, which is in Rome.
Yep.
So they went somewhere else first. That was somewhere over there close to that. And
the Vatican was last because that's where she busted through the restaurant so they could get to the tunnel that went to the Vatican.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah,
I think Claudia was lost in Portugal, but they started in France.
Yep. And that's actually one of my favorite scenes because it's one of my favorite lines because they're down there and they're getting, she's getting on to me. He's like, I never grow tired of these. I never grow tired of you making fun of me.
I never grow tired of these.
But when he's trying to get into the tunnel, she goes, "Hey, Pooh Bear, you gonna let me in? Let me try." I'm like, that is he needs a sticker. It says Pooh Bear.
Hey, Pooh Bear, You gonna let me try? And
that whole thing continued for a little bit too. It wasn't just the one-liner. She continued on with it for the next 30 seconds or so. I was
it makes
impressed.
you wonder just how much of that is scripted or if it's just Allison going at it. I bet you it's both.
Yeah, it was funny.
You'd think you'd have to be pretty quippy working with these people and a little bit of fighting back, that sort of thing. So I can definitely see that.
I've met her in person. She's that quip. She's just as quippy with him on the stage. And so is Jamie, by the way. I've got
Jamie
a video. Jamie Murray. on the panel that I was at with them, and thankfully I have it recorded. And at one time I had a YouTube channel it's on. But they were on the panel one time and they were talking about their favorite artifacts. And someone I think it might have been Eddie that said that. Oh no, it was Jamie that said Artie's eyebrows are like an artifact.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she talked about how, and then they went back and forth making fun of him for a minute. And then she's like, they had to use Artie's eyebrows to make my merkin when she was on Spartacus. And I have that on audio. I actually have it on video too. But I'm like, I cannot believe I caught that moment. So when she's talking about merkin with Artie's eyebrows, and he just turned beet red.
That was funny. I think one of the other really funny parts was they're trying to get into this place to get the astrolabe, which is the artifact that they find in there. They don't know it's an astrolabe, but that's what they're finding. And they're trying to get into this private spot. And Pete's like, okay, Micah and I'll distract him and you two go in there. You guys go find the doohickey. You mean the failsafe? Yeah, the magic thing.
It's magic, right?
And then the two will go off and Pete looks at Micah and Micah's like, okay, well, what's your plan? He's like, I don't know. You're the one that always has the plan. And he's like, just kidding. Watch this. He goes out and he's like trying to talk to the guy about how I'm looking for ye old mushroom shoppy, and standing in front of this really big guy. And he's like touching his shoulders. He's like, oh, wow, you have lots of muscles. I mean, I'm not gay, but I'm open-minded. And then he smacks him in the forehead. Mike is like, that was your plan? Knock down the big guy?
How does that not hurt? Would that not knock you out?
No, if you do it, there's a ridge in your forehead that if you do it there, you're going to reduce the impact on your brain and you will survive the hit a lot better than the person that you're doing it with. It takes practice to do it. And no, I haven't done it. I've just seen people that have gotten dumber doing it.
I look at that this time around. I'm like, that looks painful. No, thank you. I've been there before. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. And I lost my thought. So
there was the moment where the Brotherhood, Brent Spiner comes up and he says, that belongs to us. In my head, I hear him saying, that belongs in a museum. Because he says it in the same tone that Harrison Ford does. So it just sounds like that to me. So I don't know if anybody else caught that or not, but Brad Spiner does a mean Harrison Ford, that belongs in a museum quote.
Didn't actually catch it that way, but I could see it now that you say it. I can see that.
That's me, Indiana Jones.
Yep.
I don't think I've seen those movies since I was a kid.
Oh, they're great. I watch them every once in a while. They're great. Not all of them, but the original trio is awesome. Yeah.
How many others?
I would skip Temple of Doom. It's not my favorite. I like the first.
Well, you have Short Round in it. How can you? The Goonie himself. You can't go over it.
It's not my favorite. I don't go back and watch that one. Although I did like the last one they just did. I'm not a big fan of Temple of Doom or the last skull. The skull one, the Crystal Skull. Not a big fan of either one of those two, but the Last Crusade, I gotta say, is probably my favorite next to the first one, of course.
The Last Crusade has Sean Connery in there.
Yeah, and it was just hilarious. The one-liners and everything. I mean, it was so good. And then they just had whatever the last one was. It was pretty good. I like the last one that they did. Much better than the Crystal Skull.
Couldn't tell you anything about it.
It was good.
That's
So I
how
have a
long it's been.
question for you ladies. A postulation, really, and what are your thoughts on it? What if, because I'm still, to this day, trying to figure out MacPherson. What if MacPherson used the pocket watch to find the astrolabe and to fix something, right? He was actually doing a good thing, right? And by using it, the evil caused him to then question the regents. And that was his cross that he bared for the rest of his life.
Oh, because that would be why he knew that the watch would be important and to give it to Artie.
As a
Because they
pilgrim.
never answered why he knew that.
That's a good one. That's a good.
Well,
That's
you were
very
sitting on that
possible.
one for a while, weren't you?
No, it just came to me. I was watching the episode, but it just give MacPherson the backstory because he is an agent, right, of the
Mhm.
warehouse. He is believing of the collection of the and protection of all these artifacts. And then all of a sudden he turns sometime and is like, what caused him to turn against the regents? It could have been something like this. I could definitely see that. And he's trying to extend his friendship to Artie all the way to the end. I mean, he
Yep.
doesn't believe
Well-
in what Artie's doing, but
He turned because of the love of the woman that he wanted to be with.
Yeah.
He turned when he used I want to say the flight of the Phoenix. No, he turned when he used the Phoenix to be able to go in and save the woman from the burning building.
That was one of the catalysts, but we don't
One
know
of
if
them.
the first catalyst was him actually using the astrolabe. That's a very
That's a
big possibility.
good question.
That's a
good
good
hypo-
pondering question.
I know,
Well thought
right?
of.
Because how did he know it? And they never explained it.
and we never see Roger Rees again. We've seen the last episode with Roger Rees in it. We'll never see him again. So that's
I thought you said he was in one more in this series.
oh yeah, that's right. He's in one
Yeah.
in season 5.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought you said he was in one more when we were doing last week.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong.
Ooh,
don't
say
know
that
with
one more
him.
time. I want to hear it again.
You can play it on repeat on the podcast if you want. A couple of
Dude, I
things.
have that recording now.
That was a no. That was a hard pass.
A couple of things also that I noticed in the episode. We find out that Mrs. Frederick is organically connected to the
Mhm.
warehouse.
Yep.
So when the warehouse goes away, so does she.
Yeah, because when they went in and Pete and Micah were like, wait, well, let's just ask Mrs. Frederick. And they're like, Mrs. Frederick disappeared in front of our eyes. She's
So-
gone.
Not a great recruitment tool. I mean, if back a couple episodes at the end of season 2, whenever they were wanting to connect Claudia to it, and
Mhm.
Claudia's like, do I have to? Do I have to? Oh, no, you don't have to. Well, now you know that she would be organically connected. And then,
Well,
no,
again, this is something that's learned that is erased.
it is. So somebody should have told it to her.
It's true.
You know how serious the episode is when Pete does not hit on a flight attendant.
Right. That's some serious sadness. Although his tummy did still rumble because they went to the restaurant where they were going to go downstairs to get the piece that they were missing for the astrolabe. And they're next to it. And Pete's like, man, I'm hungry. And Micah's like, what? Really? He's like, what?
When are you not?
An army. What?
Travels on its stomach.
An army travels on its stomach. Thank you. I was like, there's the Pete. But yeah, because they had gotten off the plane and both Micah and Claudia were really super cold. And they're like, why is it so cold? It's the middle of summer. And Artie's like, it's not actually cold. It's the lack of hope that you're feeling that's making you cold. She's like, oh, is that why Pete didn't even hit on the flight attendant? Pete's like, I know. It's so unlike me.
I think of another good line I think Claudia had in this episode when she was already trapped in the tunnel and they were going back and forth between Lena and the other regent and the warehouse agents, and they're trying to figure out what that what was it, whatever that number the chapter and verse was.
16, 18. 16, 18.
And then she just starts rattling off things in the Bible, and then they made us read it in the in the
psychiatric.
asylum. Yeah.
I think that's how they kept their funding.
She also makes another reference, which I'm surprised neither of you have mentioned. It was the "Never Give Up, Never Surrender" Galaxy Quest quote.
Yep. I heard that one too.
Yeah.
Never give up, never surrender. And then when she's looking at the barrel, she's like, "Oh, it's so easy." And then Artie's like, "Huh, still be able to break an inner, huh?" She's like, "It's like breaking into a bicycle."
Stealing a bicycle. Yeah.
Stealing a bicycle, thank you.
Yeah. Also, we've mentioned it before, but to get exact, and I think it's important, the episode is titled A New Hope. New Hope is chapter 4 or episode 4 for the Star Wars trilogy. This is the first premiere episode in season 4.
I know, isn't that cool?
So, yeah. So
Kind of a little play on words there, huh?
A little reference, a little poking of things there.
I do have one more acute observation, is that in this episode, Pete dies without Micah. And he has said that he always envisions, or he's known that he's going to die with Micah. So painful death. He's not going to remember it, but
yeah, that was sad. I'm not going to remember this, am I?
It was notable that he died without Micah, where they have said that they were going to die together in previous ones.
Can you imagine though? Because Artie will remember.
Artie will remember.
Artie
remembers the whole thing.
Everything.
Watching Pete die.
He mentions before that he remembers, different people that have died. It just happens as you get more experience, get older, you start to experience other people dying around you. And he mentions that earlier in the episode.
Yeah, and they almost didn't get Claudia to come with them because she's like, "No, I'm going off and I'm going to fix this." And Pete's like, "What, you want Jinx to come back into a world like this? No hope, no warehouse. You want him to come back into this? Why don't we fix it first and then go get him?" And she finally, which is good because, she's the only one that can fit into the little tiny tunnel where she says, "Hey, Pooh Bear, let me try that." And he says, "Well, see, this is a good reason you came."
I think
hot and bothered.
It's notable that when she got trapped in there, she didn't want to hold anything back because she knew the only way to bring Jinx back is for them to succeed. So she didn't want anybody waiting around with her in where
Just
she was.
go do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said that too. She's like, "What are you all still standing here for? Get out of here."
Because to her, the most important thing was getting it done so then she could go after Jinx. That's really what she wanted to do. And never mind, her legs were crushed and under rubble or anything like that. Yeah.
You're covered with dirt.
So I think it was a brilliant spot that they came back in when the astrolabe worked and everything and reversed back to time, and they did this big screenshot of the Earth, and then they come back in. Right? That's always things are
Kind of
bad.
reminded me of Superman.
Right. I like how the moment they come back, he's squirting the goo onto the Mary Celeste road.
No, they've already been squirted, and it's letting go. And he's
It's
like,
letting go.
That's what happened. And he's
When are you ever going to quit playing with these things?
Yes. And then
And
it
I'm
was
I have some thoughts. I have some. But never mind.
and then they grab because he had Lena and the other guy from the supermarket trying to find something that would counteract that extreme hatred bomb. And they found Gandhi's Dodi, which is completely peaceful. But they put it over the bomb and they're like, "Why is this not working? Why didn't it work?" They're like, "Oh, wait, that's not the source of the hate." And so then they had to go and grab, what's his face? I just lost his name.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Yep.
Yeah, they
No,
put
his
it over
character.
him.
His character. Yes. But Anthony Michael Hall, but his character.
Sykes.
Thank you.
Sykes.
Jeez Louise.
We have this power of transfer right here. Sometimes my brain's getting better, and sometimes I'm like, I love his name.
And then, you hear Artie who's like, "Oh, we have to go save, Pete's going to push him through the wall and close the door. We have to run over there." "Wait, Artie, don't you hate it when he does that?" So then they run over and Pete's pushed him through the wall and is about to close the door. "Wait, no, Pete, you got to bring him back." He's looking at Artie like, what? What?
So does that mean that Jane has already gone through because he pushed her through?
Well, no, Jane walked through. But it is a bubble. See, to me, that was a kind of bubble guppy moment because Pete walked through and grabbed Sykes and pulled him back through. So Jane could have walked back through so she didn't have to take the flight, but she didn't.
But
she
she
stayed
didn't
on
show
the
up
other
in this
side
episode.
because they called each other on the Farnsworth when that happened.
Right.
So
Bubble
that was
guppies.
kind of a bubble guppy moment that he pushed him through, but Jane didn't come back through.
Jane who?
His mom, the Regent.
Who's that?
Janeway.
Who?
Janeway.
My point is, it's a bubble guppy moment where they're like, she's not in the episode.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
But then, it pushes him back through and they flop Gandhi's Dodie on him, and then he becomes the peaceful person and says he's sorry, and the bomb stops. And yay, the warehouse is back.
So
No
if you
more
would
smelling
rewind
apples.
that knowledge, though, even further to like the beginning of the season, you just put that Gandhi robe on him at the very beginning,
Right?
and none of this happens.
Put it on the little boy.
True, but then none of the other things that had needed to happen would have happened. I guess.
Right. Carolyn,
Nobody
what was your
was-
favorite part?
There were several with the one-liners, like Pooh Bear. Hey, Pooh Bear. That was so funny. I did like the when they were trying to figure out the watch and everything that's on the watch, and Claudia's over there trying to Google everything, and Micah's like, "What? Why does this still surprise you that I know these things?" Also, there was a really funny moment where Micah, Pete, and Artie were trying to figure out something. We're trying to figure out where the third piece was or something, and they were going back and forth, and they looked at Pete, and Pete looks at me and says, "Don't look at me, I was probably in wrestling practice." So those were some of my favorite parts, I think.
Okay. Shannon, did you have a favorite part when you're reviewing this, or that we've been talking about it?
I like whenever Artie comes back to Lena's and explains to them that the warehouse is gone, and you finally get an answer to what Mrs. Frederick is, because she's not just a Who, because she's centuries old.
Mhm.
So, now that she's connected, not just telepathically like we've seen in past episodes, but physically, she's physically connected. When the warehouse comes back, she comes back, but not before.
And she comes back with a white streak in her hair.
Right. So, I mean, it had an effect on her, but she has no memory of it.
Mhm.
And why doesn't it have an effect on the other people? Because they're not connected to the warehouse. So it's like having a scar on the actual warehouse.
Yes.
Because it blew up and then it got put back together.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
even though you're not going to see any bolts or anything buckling in the warehouse, but she is the representation of that warehouse.
Mhm.
So you see the scar or the gray hair on her, not the warehouse. So I think it was a good way to intertwine and give some explanation of what she is and why you've seen her when she was younger, but yet she was there around when Artie was young, but yet she's got a son that's in the nursing homes. I mean, it was pretty good. And then, of course, Pooh Bear. That should be on a shirt in Redbubble somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure it is. You'll just have to go look for it. The other part that was funny that I thought was at the end when Artie was advocating so strongly for HG to stay out, and he says, "I think I've earned a go with Artie's gut on this one."
He has, right?
I think he has.
SP, what was yours?
I already said it was when they were at the warehouse at the very beginning and the football came in and stuff, and Pete was being playful with, the football metaphors and
Good
stuff
game.
like that.
Slapping him on the butt.
Yeah.
Good game.
It's all good. It's all good. This episode was directed by somebody that we know. It was directed by Chris Fisher. He did direct 10 episodes of Warehouse 13. This was the 5th, so we have 5 episodes left with him. And just so everybody's square and knows what's going on, he is a producer on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is another show that Shannon podcasts on whenever they actually do air a season. That, you know, I'll give it to them. They a little pandemic delays and writer strike and actor strike. So I'm glad they waited till it was done before they started production on the new season, because we've all seen messes happen. Heroes is one of them. We were just talking about it before the show.
That we don't have another singing episode, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah. I mean, Klingon band boys or boy bands. That was pretty good.
Klingon Boy Bands.
Yeah.
Chris is still welcome to come on our podcast anytime he wants to.
Yeah, Chris, if you're listening to this, we'd love to have you on. Absolutely. I would love to talk everything that you've done in the past, not necessarily. We promise we won't grill you on Strange New Worlds, but
Warehouse for sure.
A person of interest. I mean, nothing new on Strange New Worlds.
But Person of Interest. That was a great show.
Yeah, Person of Interest and Eureka and Chuck and The Magicians, which, you know, notably, Chris, I have not watched, so you can slap my hand on that. But yeah, we'd love to have you on anytime. What's that?
What was Chuck?
Oh, I didn't watch Chuck either. I'm sorry.
So Chuck was this parody on Best Buy called the Buy More, and you had this guy who basically became a special agent, and then they had to guard him and stuff like that, and it went on too long, and then he fell in love with the agent that was there to guard him, and they got married, but then she lost her memory, and they did a final season with her losing their memory and not being, you know, running away and trying to refine herself. And at the end, they're sitting on a beach and they're talking to each other, and they're like, well, where do we go from here? And I don't know, let's try it again. And you never really get her answer out of it. And so I feel like they ruined the relationship. And so I personally don't ever want to watch Chuck again because of the way it ended.
That was the reason I stopped watching Ghost Whisperer.
Similar thing.
That was a great series too, until they
killed off her husband, and then they tried to bring him back, and somebody, it jumped
as a
the shark.
ghost. I'm like, could you not be any more? How predictable was that?
Yeah, it jumped the shark at that point, and I was like, it was really good up until then, and then
The episode was written, there were some story by credits, but it was written by somebody that we also know. His name is Jack Kinney. This was one of 8 episodes that he actually wrote, and he has one more left, because most of them were up to this point. So the other episode that he writes is the premiere episode for season 5. It's going to take us a few months to get there. Matter of fact, it'll probably be 2025 when we get to season 5. So
how many episodes does season have? I can't
20.
remember.
There's 20. So that we got 19 more, and then season 5. We've got total, including this episode, 26 episodes left, so half a year. And I do plan on taking I'll make the announcement right now. I do plan on doing the same thing that I did last year. The week before Thanksgiving will be the last week that I podcast in 2024, and I will return in 2025. So we will all get a holiday break.
Yeah, we definitely, it's just too busy to do a lot of things.
Yeah, I've done it many years. Yeah. I've done it many years before, and I just have no interest in continuing it anymore. So I'll apologize in advance, because I know people get into their schedule and are expecting an episode of their favorite podcast to do whatever they're doing for that particular day or that particular week. I get it. I do it myself, but I just can't in good conscience.
Well, it's family time. We need to spend time with our family. So, and plus my work gets like crazy busy after Thanksgiving with all the meetings and everything else. And then there's family, and it's a mess.
And then there's boxes and
there's boxes. Especially, I'll bet you get busy after Christmas time too. I'll bet you get super busy.
Ow.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I did have one more funny quote that was at the end. When Artie was looking at the computer, and he's exhausted, and he looks at the dog, and the dog's giving him this look. He's like, "What? Don't look at me like that. I haven't slept in 2 parallel universes."
Indeed. Coming out with the big thing there. So we did not get any feedback this week. There's no email to our email address, which you can send us an email. You can send Shannon an email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. That's warehouse13, the number's 13 fancast, all one word, warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We'll read it on a show unless you ask us not to read it. So we understand that some people don't want their stuff read on air. That's no problem. So you can definitely send us a email and we will talk about it. Now, coming up next time, we're going to continue our season 4 March with Warehouse 13, season 4, episode 2, An Evil Within. Shannon, I'm going to give you the joy of choosing here. Do you want to choose tvguide.com, IMDb, or Amazon Prime Video?
IMDb.
Okay, here we go.
You got it that time.
Pete and Micah investigate a mysterious case where the mobs of angry people are hallucinating en masse and attacking innocents.
You're at row.
Did we already have that episode?
Yeah.
Donner's
episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where's Gandhi's Dodie? Just throw it over him. He'll be all fine.
Just stretch it out. There's got to be an artifact that'll stretch it out, right? Artifact to stretch out another artifact.
Yeah.
Just blanket a city.
Yeah. Maybe there's some silly putty and it's like magic silly putty and you just plop it over something and that stretches it. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going with.
Nothing can go wrong there.
Nothing.
All right. Is there anything else, ladies?
I don't think there was any food in this episode other than the restaurant that they went to, but there was no food.
That she smashed. No food. They didn't have time for food.
No, but an army travels on his stomach. You got to feed the beat.
He still didn't get any.
No.
Died on an empty stomach.
Are we talking about food?
Yes. I'm talking about food. He died on an empty stomach.
You said you didn't get any, so I just wanted to clarify.
Well, he
never hit on the flight attendant, so, he didn't get any.
No chance of Mile High Club there. All right, with that, I will say thanks, everybody, for dropping on by. I'm the Janitor SP.
The Sci-Fi Girl.
It's Ocean 363. Bye!
See everybody next time.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com.
I have to show you my shirt today. Ready?
It's futile.
Resistance with a resistor is futile.
I thought you would like that. I think I wore it in that picture. Let me see. I did.
I wish that y'all were coming, that y'all going to be here with me in October, and I was going to go, but now I'm not. But there's so many people coming to the San Antonio Comic-Con. Both of them are going to be there. Both.
Oh, they're really sweet to meet.
That's awesome.
John DeLance, I met him last year with Gates McFadden, but I didn't up close meet him. Yeah, nice.
That's all. Yeah. Right in between the person who brought the Borg to Star Trek The Next Generation, John Delancey as Q, and Brent Spiner, who is an android who is constantly battling with the Borg. So
I thought it was a cool time to wear the shirt.
It is.
I don't remember if either one of them actually got it, but I did, and I thought it was pretty darn cool. I'm like, it's a fun shirt. Resistance is futile.
Oh, that's great that you got the picture to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
The part that I'm doing are individual people's personal belongings that they are sending to the vault to be stored. So,
is it a Fallout vault?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that would have been a cooler story.
I know. I could have been rich instead of just needing OnlyFans. I need OnlyFans.
Okay.
I mean, the bananas.
You know, it's almost worth it. If I can make $3,000, I'll do it with my tongue swollen. I don't mind. Or I might get real friendly with the zucchini. Or an eggplant.
Eggplant. Woo.
Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How does a cell phone ask another cell phone out? They give them a ring.
Is it still bad now?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Oh, it's funny. I couldn't hear it.
Then we're good.
I know when
You're-
I'm looking. That's why I wear the studio
you're
monitoring.
an audiophile, though.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have to edit this crap, so I want it to sound
that's
decent.
why you're the janitor.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
We wouldn't have a show without you. So.
You would have no hope. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, nice.
Nice
well
one.
Played. Well played.
Well played.
Yes, we would have no hope without you.